Hello YouTube and welcome back to another Dare to Game video. Today we're playing M&B Bannerlord, specifically the Realm of Thrones Total Conversion mod, and today we're going to be going over the 10 best wives that you can marry in the game based on how good of a steward they are, so how good they are at governing settlements for you. Some might say this is the most important role, others second, but it usually does rank among the most important features. And so we also tried to limit it to named characters that are actually from the story, not just randomly generated or mod created ones. So you should recognize, if you're a fan of the Game of Thrones or a Song of Ice and Fire story, you should recognize these names. But with all that in mind, let's just dive on in. And so to find them, the obvious, I'll just show you the path. You have to go to your notes menu, and from there you click on heroes. There, if we're looking for a wife, we're obviously going to want to select the female gender, and then alive, just in case you're later in the game. Then we go down here, and you could, if you're looking for like a companion, you'd click wanderer, but here we're going to pick Lord/Lady, and obviously since we want to marry them, we're going to click not married. Then if you want to further narrow it down, you can by selecting their culture, and the one we're looking at today is going to be the North. And so that is how you limit your list, so you have a much smaller amount to look through. And the number 10 spot on this list is MEERA Reed, and it just so happens that she has gotten married in this story, but she starts out the game unmarried, so that would be why she makes this list. And she starts off, I'm going to actually go with the stats that she has at the beginning of the game, not the ones that are displayed here, but she starts off at the age of 18 with a charm level of 80, trade level of 81, steward level of 100, tactics level of 100, and leadership level of 100. And her highest combat skill is 150, and you can see that she has that in one-handed, two-handed, and polearm. So above that, she's got some other combat skills, 100 in throwing, 125 archery, 100 in crossbow, 120 in riding, and 100 in athletics. So across the board, pretty dang solid stats starting off. She's not bad at anything, but in particular, I find her to be pretty good at being a steward, and that's why she takes the number 10 spot. So that's number 10, MEERA Reed. You'll remember her from her trip beyond the wall with Bran Stark, being the daughter of Howland Reed, one of Eddard Stark's most loyal bannermen, and that is number 10. At number 9, we have TALLA Tarly, and you can see it says she's a member of the Tarly, so House Tarly from Game of Thrones, being your most well-known person there being Sam Tarly, joining the Night Watch, becoming best friend of Jon Snow up there. His father Randall Tarly, his brother Dickon Tarly. So yes, TALLA Tarly is Sam Tarly's sister. And so at the beginning of the game, she starts off at the age of 22 with a charm level of 40, trade level of 81, steward level of 101, tactics level of 60, leadership level of 60, and unfortunately not much for combat. That's really her weakest point. Her highest combat level is 1. On the bright side, she's a blank slate, and you can make her any type of warrior you want if you want her to fight. But on the dark side, she doesn't start with any notable combat skills. So that's the downside of her. Other than that, though, like I said, makes a pretty good steward because she's got a decent steward level. Not too bad for tactics. Her trade level is not bad either, so she starts off being pretty dang good right there. And again, like I said, you'll know her from being the sister of Sam Tarly. So that's number 9, TALLA Tarly. Let's move on to number 8. At number 8, we have NYMERIA Sand, the daughter of Oberyn Martell, sister of TYENE Sand and Obara Sand, so one of the sand snakes. She starts off the game at the age of 24 with a charm level of 60, trade level of 81, steward level of 101, tactics level of 120, and leadership level of 120, and her highest combat skill is 160, and you can see that that is in polearm. So pretty solid spouse here. Again, pretty decent step up from TALLA Tarly. She's obviously a better steward, which is what got her the higher role here, or higher rank here, but she's also quite a bit better at other things. So you can see we have a significantly high leadership and tactics skill, which is great, and then of course nice high combat skills. So very adaptable here. Also starts off with pretty good armor, which is a great thing. As for traits for her, we have honest and daring, which are good traits for a wife. So yeah, NYMERIA Sand should definitely be considered if you're looking for a good Dornish wife, because like I said, she's got a lot of good skills just all around, and she takes the number 8 spot for the best steward wives. So that's number 8. Next up at number 7, we have Margaery Tyrells, who you should recognize as being the daughter of Mace Tyrell, you know, the Lord Paramount of the Reach. So in the main story, we have her being suggested as a husband, or as a wife for Joffrey, and then later for Tommen. And so she's a big part in the main story, both in the show and in the books. She is the sister of Loras Tyrell, Willis Tyrell, and Garland Tyrell. So pretty big names there. As for her traits, we've got munificent, so generosity 2, and honest, so again, good traits as a wife. She starts the game at age 19 with a charm level of 100, trade level of 81, steward level of 101, tactics level of 0, leadership level of 0, and her highest combat skill is again just 1. So she does not do well as a warrior or as a war party leader, but she is a pretty dang good steward, and just makes a good wife in general, starting nice and young and having good traits. So if you want to have a nice big clan with a good loyal wife, Margaery Tyrell's a good way to go for that. So yeah, like I said, she takes the number 7 spot on this list. Alright, at number 6 we have TYENE Sand, another one of the Sand Snakes, sister to NYMERIA and Obara, daughter to Oberyn Martell, and in this playthrough, because she's gotten married, spouse to Gren of the Night's Watch. I get a kick out of how the Night's Watch can just marry and have kids in this mod. It's fun. But anyway, she starts out the game at age 20 with a charm level of 100, trade of 82, steward of 102, tactics of 0, leadership of 0, both of those pretty interesting, but the highest combat skill of 150, and you can see she has that in one-handed, two-handed, and polearm, so decent there, along with 100 throwing, 125 for bow, 120 for riding, and 100 for athletics, so makes a pretty dang good warrior right off the bat. Traits on her, pretty bad, close-fisted, cruel, and impulsive, so I would say she's a good spouse if you're going to lead somewhat of a dishonorable playthrough, but as you can see, also pregnant already, so pretty dang good at having kids as well, and like I said, stat-wise, she's good at a lot of stuff, but because of her stats in governing, she does take the number 6 spot for the best stewards out of the wives available. So yeah, that's number 6, TYENE Sand. At number 5, we've got Daenerys Targaryen, and if you're a fan of either the books or the show, you should definitely recognize her. It says Mother of Dragons, whose main desire is to reclaim her father's throne in King's Landing. She's from the Targaryen clan. She starts the game at age 22 with a charm level of 20, trade of 120, steward of 140, tactics of 160, leadership of 160, and her highest combat skill is 150, which you can see she has in one-handed, two-handed, and polearm, as well as having a throwing skill of 100, bow of 125, crossbow of 100, riding of 120, and athletics of 100. So obviously great stats all around. She's got really good stats. Trait-wise here, we've got generous and calculating, so good traits for a wife. She is marryable. You can totally marry her, so that's fun. They made it, I think the mod author made a good decision not making her unmarryable as the leader of a clan, which is great because it allows you to actually marry her, and I feel like a lot of people who are playing this mod are going to want to. But yeah, she does take the number 5 spot for the best stewards because of that nice high stewardship. She's got a good high trade skill and obviously good tactics as well, so she makes a good steward for being in charge of your settlement. Yeah, so that's Daenerys Targaryen at number 5. Alright, at number 4 we've got Melisandre, and now she is one on this list who does start out being on the slightly older age, so not potentially the best for having children, but she does start the game at age 34 with a charm skill of 160, trade of 122, steward of 140, tactics of 140, leadership of 140, and her highest combat skill is level 55, and that is in bow. So she does start off young enough to have children. It might be difficult, so if you want to marry Melisandre and have children in this game, it's best to do it as soon as possible so you can actually have a chance of having some kids. But that being said, it is technically possible. Anyway, other than that, you obviously probably know who Melisandre is, priestess of R'hllor and advisor to Stannis Baratheon, so she's from the Dragonstone culture here. Her only trait is honest, which is a good trait to have, and again, like I said, stats don't blow you away for like combat, but she does have a nice high leadership ability and tactics, so both of those are good, and she's obviously got good steward traits, 147 for steward, 122 for trade, 160 for charm. These are good traits for a steward. So yes, Melisandre takes the number 4 spot. Alright, at number 3 we have LYSA ARRYN, and now here we have one that makes a bad wife if you want to have children. But if you don't want to have children, or maybe you have birth and death turned off, and you just want one who's a really good steward or good at other things, then she definitely is a good option. So she starts the game at age 45 with a charm skill of 100, trade of 121, steward of 141, tactics of 120, leadership of 120, and her highest combat skill is 120, and you can see she shares that with several different skills, one-handed, two-handed, and polearm amongst them. So pretty solid there. Obviously her stewardship skills are pretty dang good to get her this ranking. She's got a stewardship of 141, trade of 121, charm of 100, tactics of 120. All of these are definitely good stewardship abilities to have. She does start off with a child, Robin ARRYN, so I guess if you marry her, at the very least you have that, a daughter and a son, I should say. So you're kind of marrying into having children, considering she almost certainly will not birth any at this age. And again, for her traits, we have honest, which is good, and close-fisted, listed, which isn't as good, but doesn't make a huge impact on a wife. So yeah, that's LYSA ARRYN at number 3. At number 2, we've got MISSANDEI, and she is, again, she's from the clan Targaryen. Her culture is Giscari. If you remember from the story, she was the translator that Daenerys bought in Astapor with the Unsullied. So that's, you know, who she is from the story. She plays a big part in the show, a smaller but still decent-sized part in the books. Traits, we have honest and daring, so both of those are good. And for her skills, she's pretty dang good at being a steward, which is why she takes the number 2 spot, but she's not great at anything else. She starts the game at age 24 with a charm skill of 120, trait of 122, steward of 141, tactics of 0, leadership of 0, and the highest combat skill she has is level 1. So again, not great at combat. Her tactics and leadership are 0, so she's not great at leading a war party, at least not starting off, but her steward skills are all pretty good. 120 for charm, 122 for trade, and 141 for steward. Those are all good skills. So obviously an excellent option, and she is nice and young, so you can have plenty of children if you want to marry her like that. So yeah, Missandei takes the number 2 spot. And finally at number 1, we've got someone that I personally would never recommend marrying, just because I can't stand Cersei in either the show or the books, but Cersei Lannister takes the number 1 spot for the mod. She's obviously too old to have children with, so if you want that, you know, tough, but she does come with 3 children already built in, so, you know, that works as well. You probably know who she is if you're familiar with the story. She's the worst. She's the ultimate villain of the whole show and is totally unredeemable in every single way. She does start the game at age 39 with a charm skill of 160, trait of 142, steward of 161, tactics of 0, leadership of 0, and her highest combat skill is 1. So again, she's bad at everything other than being a steward, but at being a steward, her stats start her off as the best. She's got a steward level of 176, charm of 160, and trait of 142. All of those are quite good. Actually, are the highest of any people other than, I mean, like her charm is the same as Melisandre starting off, but that's actually not that big of a deal. It's a secondary stewardship skill. So great stats. As for her traits, though, she's got deceitful and sadistic. So those are pretty bad traits, I would say, in a wife. So like I said, Cersei, stat-wise, definitely has the best stats for being a steward starting off, but, you know, leaves something to be desired in the having children department and being trustworthy department. But yeah, that is all 10 of our top 10 best wives in the Realm of Thrones mod according to how good of a steward they are. Hope you enjoyed this video. Hope you found it useful, but that's all for today. We'll see you next time. Thanks for watching another Dare to Game video. If you liked this video, please leave a like and a comment. If you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to the channel. If you like my content and would like to support this channel, consider becoming a member today for as little as $1.99 a month. It makes a huge difference. But in any case, thanks for watching and have a nice day. I'll see you next time.